Hey everybody, kind of a deeper, more somber discussion today. I know I've talked about this a little bit in the past, but I want to go a little more in depth. Um, you can either claim victory or you can claim victimhood, but you cannot claim both at the same time. Okay? Um, Too many people in the world today are stuck in that victim mentality. And by victim mentality, that is not meant to diminish anything that's happened to anybody. See, that's the first. As soon as somebody hears that they're in a victim mentality, they let that trigger shut them down instead of listening. Victim mentality is when you shut down and stop growing because of what happened to you. That's when you don't take it for the reality of what it is, right? That's how we do that, is to take accountability. Even if you are not at fault for something happening, right? Because again, bad stuff happens to people every day. It's things people didn't never ask for. All right, that's just a sad fact of reality. You know, but our job is to grow from it and move on. And too many people have programmed themselves to think, oh, well, this bad thing happened to me. I don't have to do anything about it. It's somebody else's job. That is not how life works. Because the only thing that we can control is ourselves. We cannot control anybody else. That's why victim mentality is so dangerous. Because it lets you rely on something outside of yourself to make yourself feel better over what happened to you. Do you see how that's a self-defeating loop? But too many people want to, cling to that. No, you got to take hyper accountability. Even if it wasn't your fault, pretend like every bit of it was your fault. Look at it from every angle. What could you have possibly done different so that event didn't take place? Again, even if you are not at fault, question yourself that way. Because that's how you grow. That's how you keep it from happening again. If you just sit there and cry, oh, poor me, guess what? That's not going to change it. You haven't learned the lesson. You're going to repeat the cycle. That's how the universe works. By, proclaiming, that you are a victim of something, that is not victim mentality. That's not what people are referring to, right? You have every right to be loud and have a voice. You have every right to be heard for what happened. That is not and that's what everybody, again, they want to let that trigger kick in, and they think that's what people are saying when they say you got to let go of your victim mentality. That is not what they are saying. They're saying you let it stagnate you, and you will never grow until you can get through dealing with what you went through there. That's it. That's what it is. You got to pull yourself out of it. Right? Nobody can do it for you. I mean, don't get me wrong. Yes, you should go, get professional help, talk to a therapist. Not at all. I'm a huge advocate for that, by the way. Huge for mental health. Unfortunately, right now, the resources aren't there for the everyday person. That's why I do this. That's why I have these talks. Because some of us can't get the help we need. And it's sad, but it's the way it is. But again, we can do something about it. There's great programs like White Flag, peer driven for mental health. It's not meant to take the place of anything, but it's something to use until you can get the right care. 988, the helpline. Use it. That's what it's there for. If you're feeling down and your thoughts are taking you someplace, dial the number. Talk to somebody. Hell, if you dial the number, it's anonymous. You can let out everything you got to let out. It's very cathartic to do that. Sometimes that's all we need is somebody to listen. Like, we don't even need to actually make any physical change. Sometimes we just need to tell our story to somebody who's genuinely listening, genuinely interactive. That way we can replay the events in our heads and make the corrections that need to be made to keep it from happening again. That's what you rob yourself of when you stay locked in that victim mentality. You have the excuse that you don't have to change a damn thing because you're not at fault. And while that may be true, as far as the part of you not being at fault, you still got to make changes. Again, some things are literally just being at the wrong place at the wrong time. You know? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is when you chain yourself to that moment, when you don't let yourself grow past it, when you expect everybody to come to you because you chained yourself to that identity. Everybody's been through something. Some, yes, granted, some are worse than others, but everybody in this world has been through something. Now, do you think the successful people are the ones that sit there and cry about it and say, woe is me all the time? Or do you think it's people that say, oh, well, that sucked. Let's not do that again. Next. I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer there, folks. Get up. It don't matter how many times this world knocks you down, get back up. That is a choice. It's a choice that only you can make for yourself. Don't give up on yourself. You're worth it. Don't listen to anybody else. Listen to yourself. Don't let people who don't have the moral integrity to even understand you to tell you who you are. That's a mistake I made. I let too many people that didn't know anything about morals or principles, define who I am, and I know better. I let them treat me like garbage. I allowed it. Again, that's hyper accountability. It's not their fault for treating me that way. It's my fault for allowing it. That I didn't put a stop to it the first time. That's how you get yourself out of a victim mentality. That's how you learn and grow. That's how you claim victory from victimhood. Is when you grow and move past it. When you take those steps. When you feel what you have to feel, right? That's not when you are a victim, you have any emotion, any trauma, anything like that. You have to feel it. You have to let yourself feel it. And you have to express it properly. You can't bottle it up, push it down, ignore it. That don't get you nowhere. You have to let yourself feel it, and you have to work through it. But you still have to do those steps. Quit being afraid of it. Because you know what's scarier than facing your fears? Staying stuck where you are and never going past where you're at. Yes, sometimes fear is a warning sign, but most times it's an attention grabber. It's to say, hey, this is someplace you need to work on something. Remember, we weren't given the spirit of fear. So if you feel fear, that should definitely be an attention grabber. Where is it coming from? How can you deal with it? You can't just look at it and say, I don't like that, and turn away. Well, I mean, you can, but it's not going to serve you any good. But if you face it head on, then you can get through it. And that's the other problem that, people with a victim mentality, they chain themselves to this moment, like literally chain themselves. They can't grow past it, and they are stuck in that moment, right? I get, when you are a victim of something, sometimes it's a very horrible experience, right? Why would you force yourself to live in that moment? But that's something people don't logically think about. They just want the attention that, oh, I don't have to grow. People are very lazy. And yeah, I said it. You can get mad at me all you want, but that's the fact of the matter. People are very lazy when it comes to doing the inner mental work. And that's, in general, society as a whole. It's not specific to, I'm not saying everybody, every individual, but the majority, that's what I've seen. Nobody's willing to accept what needs to be accepted so they can change what needs to be changed. Sometimes you have to be broken to be reborn. You can't be fixed and put back together if you haven't fallen apart yet. There's a reason they call them life lessons. You're supposed to learn them throughout your life. Not stay stuck because of them. They're meant to help you grow. Sometimes they're very tragic. Sometimes they're horrible. Most of life lessons are not comfortable. They are not happy moments. But they're very powerful. And they can shape not only people, but the world. Depending on how people react to them. And again, when you take that victim mentality, here's the other thing, right? You are giving away your power. Seriously, you're just handing it over. Because your power is your ability to grow and rise above it, to take the lesson from it. That's your power. And when you chain yourself to that and say, there's nothing, not my responsibility to do anything about it, it's everybody else's. Right? You are handing your power away. And you're giving it to basically the person that hurt you. Because you're letting them win. You're letting them leave you stuck there. Again, acknowledge it. Yes, you are a victim. Sometimes just a victim of circumstance. I'm not saying that you can't identify it for what it is. Yes, you are a victim. But if you let yourself stay stuck there, that's where you'll forever be. And there's just too much of this life to experience to, I'm already in enough of my own constructed mental prison. Why am I going to add another cell to it? Because that's what you're doing. You are taking an already enclosed space, limited space, and cramping it even smaller. Because that's you putting yourself in your own box. I cannot stress this enough. This is very important. Acknowledge it for what it is. Feel what you have to feel to get through it. Right? Let it pass. Learn the lesson. Move on. That's the steps. That's how you handle situations like that. That's the only way to handle it. Anything else is an exercise in futility. If you want to get over it anyway. If you're happy, being the person in the corner, getting the attention, for repeating the same story over and over again, then by all means, that's how you want to do it. But if you want anything, if you want your life to be different, if you want the world to change for the better, then you got to change it. It's up to you. Again, you're only hurting yourself. And I wish more people would open their eyes and quit taking the lazy way out. Not only does it damage others, but even more so, it damages you. It very greatly reduces your quality of life when you let yourself stay trapped mentally in these places. Too many people waste so much, time is already fleeting as it is. Why would you waste it? Just doesn't make sense to me. You know. Anyway, so that's my food for thought for today. Just keep taking care of yourself. Try and help take care of each other. And I'll catch you in the next one.